COOGS House. What a freaking win for the Houston Cougars in Lawrence, Kansas.
You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Cougars, a podcast about your Houston Cougars. I'm your host, Houston Board teacher and coach Parker Ainsworth. And man, oh man, what a freaking win for those Houston Cougars who knock off Kansas 92-86 in double overtime. Lots to react to in this one. I kind of have a loose skeleton here, but we're going to go quickly, quietly, and into the night with it. The Mylik Wilson game, to say the least. He'll get plenty of praise in this one. I don't want to be a fool and not talk about fixes and what comes next. But man, oh man, it's like 2 or 3 different times late in the game in this one, Houston was down and out, and man, oh man, was that feeling wrong for the Houston Cougars. Houston wins 92-86 one more time in double overtime. Mylik Wilson's 18 points off the bench were huge. Jawan Roberts, 24 points, kind of steadied the ship through crucial points and moments. Mylik Wilson had 17, including a huge 3 in the second overtime. This, folks, is a culture win for this group. A culture win, a lot like a couple came last year around this time of year when they started gelling as well. Houston has not lost a Big 12 regular season game since the last time they visited Phog Allen last year. And honestly, it kind of felt like at times that was just going to kind of be their Achilles heel in this one. A really, really tough contest. Houston had a couple things that were preventable, a couple things that were not preventable in this one. Before we get too far, this is the live reaction show post-game for Houston's 92-86 win, double overtime over Kansas in Kansas. Got a bunch of comments here flying on in. Adrian says, "Go Cougs. What a win. First Q win of the year, quad one win of the year, unless they change it." I don't think they're changing that one. I think Kansas dropping out of the top 70, but we'll see. Adrian adds in as a scary team when everyone's healthy and shooting. We had a bench this year. Shout out to Mylik Wilson, JV, and Terrence, everybody. Big ups to Milos and J1 leading the way. Best game of the year. Been waiting for a good quality win. Just awesome, gritty win. I mean, this was fan-freaking-tastic. Again, Houston wins 92-86. And it felt like at times this game was going to fall away and get out of Houston's hands, and that was largely because of stuff they were doing to themselves. Houston shot 14 of 25 from the foul line, but at one point it was like 11 of 20. It was bad. It was bad in that early portion, really in the regulation part of this game. Houston was 8 of 25 from behind the arc, and they made 3 threes in the final seconds of the first overtime and second overtime put together. I mean, this really was a culturific win. That team was Kansas is good. Phog Allen is a tough place to play, but Houston proved that they're just better. Again, this is the Mylik Wilson game. Will forever go down as the Mylik Wilson game. Mylik Wilson's kind of a journeyman, right? Louisiana Lafayette guy. Came over, I guess he started off at Tech before coming to Houston as he was transferring up into the Power 5, and had to set out of here because the old transfer rules, and came to Houston kind of finding his way. And in this one, he played just 23 minutes, and I think it's fair to be critical of how did this guy play just 23 minutes. Man, 18 points, 8 of 11 from the field, was guarding Zeke Mayo, was guarding DeJuan Harris, some of the more prolific perimeter guys they've got at Kansas. Just everywhere in this one. I guess they technically gave the steal there at the end to Milos. He didn't get Mylik Wilson didn't get credit with the steal, but final play of the first overtime, Houston is down. I guess they were down 6 with about 7.5 seconds to go. Come down. Emmanuel Sharp hits a 3. His first make of the day. He played with a hurt ankle in this one. He makes that 3. Kansas calls a timeout. Houston, who had earlier forced a 5-second count, Kansas has drawn it up, and they throw it in to Hunter Dickinson. I guess on the tip, they give the steal to Milos Uzan tip falls into Mylik Wilson's hands, takes one dribble behind the 3-point line, and hoists one up. Just, man, what a beautiful moment. Ball goes through, everyone erupts, they get to overtime, and it really felt like in overtime, just like Houston was in the second overtime that was their game. Like the Mylik Wilson shot, it felt like it kind of ended Kansas's will in that one. I'm not going to act like that another big part of that was in the second overtime. It started the second overtime when Juwan Roberts fouled out big man Flory Bedunga for Kansas. He'd had a monster day himself. The guy averaged like 6 points. He had 19 in this one. What a game. Juwan Roberts fouled him out on the first set of free throws in the second overtime, and Kansas did not have an answer after that. Their only answer, I guess, had been going to him for dunks when Houston was scrambling off of other guys, and it didn't seem to matter. This is the Mylik Wilson game, and it will always be the Mylik Wilson game, and he'll be the guy that helped Houston win in Phog Allen for the first time, I believe, in program history. Someone can correct me on that if they'd like to. But the bigger deal, I think, here, though, was in the more broad traditional basketball stretches of this game. Juwan Roberts was the guy we went through at all times. He played 46 minutes in this one. And again, it really was like when Houston needed a basket, when Houston needed something to go right, they went through Juwan. Juwan was 10 of 21. It wasn't like he shot lights out or anything like that, but he was just steady, got to the rack, got his free throws, had 5 assists, and could have had a couple more if guys make their shots, because he was finding guys out in the middle of the lane very, very well. He had 9 huge rebounds as well. Just a big, big game out of Juwan. Juwan's making a real push for Big 12 Player of the Year himself, if you're paying attention. I believe that's all but 2 of Houston's Big 12 games this year. He's got over 20. Again, and he's not known to be a scorer. He's really a defensive guy. He guarded Dickinson tonight, held Dickinson to 17. Again, they went to double overtime. And Dickinson's their leading scorer at Kansas most days. Really just a tremendous effort on this one. Now, if you'd have told me coming into the game, LJ Cryer would have been 1 for 8 from 3, and Emmanuel Sharp would have been 2 of 7 from 3, I don't think I could have predicted a regulation win, let alone a double overtime win. That just the way that they muster up and find other ways to attack Kansas throughout the game, the never say quit, never say die, never say never attitude out of these guys, forcing 5-second counts and stuff like that down the stretch, forcing foul outs, boxing guys out, and frustrating Kansas. The Kansas fans were left abysmally just distraught with what was happening here. I got to watch that game again to figure out more X's and O's stuff. I was too caught up in it as a fan. And I'm sorry if you're looking for more of the X's and O's and schematic breakdown. That was, as a fan of Houston Cougar basketball, I got on the chest right now. That was too much fun to think about. What were they running to get the high-low floppy screen? Just tremendous guts and the culture win of that program. I mean, when you talk about a team that can win a national championship, that's the kind of team you're talking about. Man, what a win. I want to talk in a second. Never give up, never quit. Exactly. Cryer played good D. That's what coach cares about. He did not score. That's fair. He did play good defense. He had a couple fouls, but I almost think they were timely, including the one on Stores there late. Just what a freaking game out of the Houston Cougars. You and me both, TI 7791. You and me both. Before I get to that, though, I do want to tell you and remind you, I guess I'm supposed to remind you, if you're going to go see these Houston Cougars basketball players in person, you got to go do it with Game Time, because Game Time is the best place to get last minute, because the lowest price is guaranteed. You want to go to NFL playoff games if you're there in Kansas and you want to get into the Kansas Chiefs game just across the border in Missouri or whatever. Energy, excitement. It might not have been like that one, but it cannot be replicated. And the place to get those tickets for those NFL playoff games or more Houston Cougar games is at Game Time. I use Game Time picks to find some Christmas presents. Actually, when I was doing some holiday shopping, I want to give the idea of an experience. Could have been easier. Great deals, all in pricing. You can see what it looks like from those seats in that moment, in that venue. Great backing with this Game Time guarantee. You find the same ticket in the same section row somewhere else for less. They give you back, credit you back 110% of the difference. It's a great app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code Locked On College for $20 off first purchase. Turns play again. Create an account. Redeem code Locked On College. LOCKEDONCOLLEG for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. COOGS House. Houston wins 92-86. I feel like I'm breathing heavy. I can't believe they just won that game. Houston wins in double overtime. Was dead in the water at the end of the first, really down the stretch of regulation too, and finds ways to extend the game until they're the last men standing. What a win to get Houston to 16-3, undefeated in Big 12 play. Have not lost a regular season Big 12 game since the game in Phog Allen last year. I mean, what else can you say about these guys? I know I had a whole separate script written because I thought they were going to lose this game 3 or 4 different times. And admittedly, I think if we're going to talk about negatives, I guess they're in this position at all because of free throw percentage. Houston shot just 56% from the line throughout the game. And I guess they shot less than 30% from three for most of the game. Had a couple there at the end, including the Wilson one to seal it. Look, I got a lot of stuff I could talk about that they need to fix in that game. Shooting down the stretch, free throw shooting in clutch games, all that's true. It's hard to focus on that right now. Oh my God, what a win. Mike asks, who made that 3-point sandwich steal on the inbound? I'm not sure. I think they gave the steal to Milos based on the stat sheet here. It looked like he and Mylik were both there, and the ball falls in Malik's hands. Man, oh man, Houston wins this game without even playing well. Emmanuel Sharp coming back off that injury was literally a non-factor shooting the basketball until the very end of the first overtime. He played great defense, but he didn't score. He's a guy that leads Houston in points. Emmanuel Sharp, just tremendous gutsy effort. LJ Cryer is Houston's leading scorer. He had 9 points and only made 2 field goals. And they found a way to win. And when you talk about gutsy culture performances last year, whether it's the A&M game in the round of 32, the Iowa State game at home, just you can start listing them off. They all have this weird feeling like this where Houston just keeps throwing punches and they just don't quit, man. And they knock out Kansas and Lawrence. It's the first time since 2018 Kansas had lost 2 home games in the same year. It's the first time since 2018. These things don't just happen, but Houston made it happen. Wow. Now, again, credit to the Badunga guy. Credit to Zeke Mayo, showed up for the moment. I didn't realize he was a lifelong Kansas fan. I showed that picture of him as a kid in a Jayhawk jersey. That's got to be a cool moment for him, even if he did, lose this game. The Rylan Griffin kid was at Alabama last year. He comes in and had 17 points off the bench. I don't think he missed a 3. They got him down as 5 of 6 from. I don't remember that missed 3. Oh my Lord. And Miguel Martinez brings it up. Look, this is the Mylik Wilson game. He went the game because he's the X factor. But as Miguel pointed out, this is also a great example of J1 being that culture leader guy for Houston. Last year it was Jamal. I think we kind of figured that out in December. I think we're finding that this year's guy is Jawan. We're figuring that out in January, right? And it's the same kind of thing when we got to find someone to carry us and exude the culture of Houston basketball in those right moments. It's turning into Jawan Roberts. Now that bled into Mylik. And again, I thought Mylik made plays throughout the first half that kept Houston in it. He made plays in the middle of the second half that kind of helped cut the lead down. Fair criticism, I guess, would be why can't he get on the floor more? I'm not sure what the thought there is. Man, oh man, he's played well the last month though. And it culminates in this, right? I don't mean to say he's played like this for the last month, but it's been heading this direction and it's awesome. And I can't listen, I know there are other people that talk to the guys on the team a lot more and stuff like that. And I DM guys back and forth. You could not, in my couple interactions, Mylik, you could not see this kind of thing happening to a better guy. I mean, he is super mature, very kind, understands his role in the program, on the team. He had to set it a whole year for a transfer rule that no longer exists, and he just took it in stride. I mean, like, it takes a special young man to do those kinds of things. It takes a special young man to do what Mylik did tonight, and it's just so awesome. I remember when he came to Houston, I'd just gotten a Locked On gig, right? And our guy that is Locked On Sunbelt, they have a whole Sunbelt conference show. He was like, "Man, you're gonna love him." And I was like, "Okay, like cool." And then like I went to a coaching clinic that Sampson was at, and Mylik was running that with him. And like it's been from day one. Like that guy is a great, great guy. Mylik been balling, but coach yells at him the hardest. I think that's because he knows he can take it. Sampson's a very classic coach in that sense, where if you are if you're getting coached hard by him, it's because he expects a lot, and that's a good sign, right? I love it. I love it. I love it. Look, I'm going to watch this again on Sunday and do more X's and O's and whatever. They ran a lot of floppy sets, got Jaywan the ball in the high post a lot. He did a lot of great passing out of it. There's more to it than that, but I'm too like wound up to get to it. Like they just beat Kansas and Kansas in double overtime. They had they shouldn't have won that game, and they did. Like I can't. Wow. Man, oh man. Now, Emmanuel Sharp plays on the one ankle, 26 minutes. Terrence Arsenault had just a 1-3 early. If Mylik's not playing as well as he is, he probably gets more minutes, but Mylik kind of stole some of those. I think people are being critical of LJ Cryer. I should point out he played 48 minutes tonight and played pretty good defense for the majority of that as well. And his foul there at the end of Storr was clever because Storr is driving the basket, probably going to get a dunk. And Storr has been sitting for a lot of the game and frankly got replaced at one point by Badinga right before Badinga went off. And LJ fouls him. He goes to the line and misses both free throws. I don't mean to say he knew he was going to miss both free throws, but there's like a basketball savvy play there. Like, hey, let's see if this guy can think about this for a second and then make them. And man, what a freaking culture win. Houston comes back to town. Who do they got next? I know they play Tech like next weekend. They're at West Virginia. Oh crap, that's gonna be a tough. At West Virginia Tuesday. And admittedly, they beat West Virginia earlier this year. West Virginia's a different place when you play them at their place. But God, what a freaking win. Can't believe Houston pulled that off. I guess I can, but I can't. Oh my Lord. Never count out Houston James. James is exactly right. Number 40 was the Badinga kid. He averages 6 points a game, and he had 19 tonight for Kansas. He was the X factor for them. Frankly, he was the beneficiary of a lot of times when Houston was like doubling the ball here, doubling the post there, and Dickinson would find him. Great passer Dickinson is. Houston played like a number one seed on Saturday night. That's a number one seed kind of game. I don't know if they're going to get back up there with 3 losses and non-conference play and all that, but Houston looked real good. What a way to get your first quad one win. What a way to get your to stay undefeated in conference. Yeah. I can't stress enough how freaking incredible that was. Like I writing scripts out for things to talk about if things went south. And then it was like, holy crap, they're going to pull this off. And then frankly, it's also telling that like Bill Self's a Hall of Fame coach. Kansas is a bunch of 5-star kids, future pro kids, etc. And when double overtime came and Houston found out Badinga and Houston was like rolling and making free throws, it looked like Kansas kind of folded and Houston didn't. And that, like, you want to play on Monday in San Antonio this year? That's important. It's really important. Really, really important. I'm gonna go celebrate, actually. What's next for Houston is West Virginia on Tuesday and Texas Tech in the blue. Houston wears blue for that one next weekend. I gotta watch this one again tomorrow to get some X and O stuff because I like couldn't get over the fandom side of it and just like calm down. Oh my God, Houston won that game. What a freaking win. Houston was down and out several times. It came back to win anyway, and we'll be talking about it more each and every day live here at Locked On Cougs. Tell me in the comments down below. I think Mylik Wilson, player of the game, obviously. Joe Roberts has an interesting case. Mylik Wilson hit a couple big shots there in second overtime. Am I missing somebody? there's somebody else with a performance I missed on this one. Javier had some interesting minutes. He didn't score a lot, but did play well. Tell me in the comments down below as I log out here and say, go celebrate this freaking win. These don't just happen. Tell me in the comments down below if you're going to give player of the game to somebody else, or if there's someone else we aren't thinking about. Locked on Cougars, Permanent Locked On Podcast. I mean, your team, the victorious Houston Cougars, each and every day. If you want to listen to something else, I'm sure Locked On College Basketball will be talking about this later as well. What a freaking win, Kelvin. Great job. Great culture win. Not every program in America wins that game, but this one did. Go Cougs.